Okay, let's talk about the data view. Now there's quite a number of features that make the data view very, very flexible in that you can define whatever view you have in mind, basically. As you hover over a column, you'll notice that there's a little down arrow that appears. You can click the down arrow on any of the columns and sort by ascending or descending the entire table, or the entire data that's in the view anyway, by that column value. In addition, the columns entry enables you to view the status of each column. For example, conference attendees, we've got year in conference within that group, and attendee, we've got company name, title, email, and phone in that group, and then all the detail items for address. Well, you notice they're all checked. If you uncheck one, for example, this uncheck city, you notice it disappears from the view. If we recheck it, it'll reappear again. So in this way, you can determine the data items in the view that you want to see. So in this way, you can delete any columns that you don't want to see in the view, and of course you can add them back again. Another thing you can do is you can rearrange the columns. You can just drag one column over to where you want it to appear, and it will be displayed that way. This is pretty good in that sometimes you want columns to appear in a certain order. For example, if you notice over here to the right side, we have an email function. If you want to email this particular attendee, you can click on this little icon, and it will open up your email, your local email program with this attendee as the addressee. Well, you might want that column over by email itself. Make it a little more handy. So you can just slide it over. So that's an example of, a couple of examples of how you can use the column reordering feature to create the data view that would work best for you. A couple of other things I want to point out here. I've refreshed the attendee view, so it's coming up here just as it would unmodified. So let me get rid of the address. So the address is gone. And let me drag the email column once again over by email function, that column over by the email. And you notice the phone number column isn't defined wide enough to display the entire column, so we can drag that. You just hover over the vertical line and drag the width of it far enough that will allow everything to display. So another thing, the final thing here I want to show you is that you can save these settings. Now it doesn't save everything. It saves the columns you want displayed and the column widths, but doesn't display preserve the order of the columns we've changed. So let me demonstrate that by clicking on the little gear icon that will enable you to save these settings. Just click on it and it tells you that settings are saved. Then you can log out, and if you log back in using the same user ID, you'll see that those settings are preserved, but not all of them, only the columns and the column width. So let me demonstrate that. So we'll log out and log back in. Pull up the same attendee screen, and you see it did preserve the columns themselves that we specified to display, and also the column widths, but this email function column is no longer by the email column, so it doesn't preserve that, but it does enable you to kind of predefine the display pretty much the way you want it. And you can quickly move columns around once you get it displayed if you like.